Saif Ali Khan, a pleasure to be here with you in London. How are you?
Thank you. Very well, thank you.
You know, Sacred Games, I've seen the first episode and I absolutely loved it. But what many people are billing this as, or certainly what people are making comparisons with, is Narcos. Do you think this could be India's answer to Narcos?
Well, I mean, Narcos has set an incredible kind of benchmark for a local show going international, as it were. I mean, something that's set in its own language, in its own environment, that is appealing to the whole world. That is the dream, really. That's something that we would hope to emulate or to have the same kind of impact.
Bollywood has tried to gain international recognition before, though, with its films. And actually, Lagan being nominated for an Oscar in 2002 was probably the closest India got to worldwide recognition, or certainly acknowledgement. Do you think streaming services and digital content will offer India that respect maybe it's been looking for on an international platform?
Well, you see, the thing about India is that it's such a different culture to the West that it's difficult to make these crossover films that will appeal to both countries. This is a global show. It's a completely different kind of thing. It's going to be compared to Narcos and to other shows on Netflix. It is Netflix's first original. They have certain standards. One of the great things about working with a production house like that is you're guaranteed not just, great publicity like we're in the midst of doing right now, but also I think we've come of age. We've got tremendous technicians doing things that look world-class, frankly, at a fraction of the price that it would cost in the West. I think Netflix would probably be quite excited with this show, not least because of that one reason, that I think everyone's got their money's worth, which is mainly the viewer also. And yes, it is I hope we find respect and resonance with the world and I hope Indians are very proud of the show, as I am, as something that is technically sound as well as engaging.
Saif, how has the emergence of digital platforms and streaming services in India changed the way people consume entertainment in the country?
I don't really know the answer to that. I do know that the internet is blowing up big time and every second guy has got some kind of tablet or phone in his hand. Even if he doesn't have a television or doesn't go and watch movies, he's watching something on his phone. So this is a potentially enormous market.
Is it not harmful in the long run when you have people like Netflix or Amazon Prime having your films streamed within weeks of their theatrical release? Will the incentive for the big screen experience decrease or decline in India?
It is definitely going to be something to be aware of. There are going to be certain experiences on the big screen that people will say, listen, let's go and watch this film. We can't watch this on our phones. This is a 70mm big screen experience. And there will be certain films where people will say, listen, you know what, let's just wait for this to come out on TV or on Netflix or something like this. So these are the fears and the worries that we have in our profession, but somehow, I mean, the business seems to be surviving just fine. People, I think in India, still like going to the theatre.
Yeah.
They like taking, as we just saw with Karina's movie, Veere, The Wedding, people want to go with their friends. They don't want to. I think watching Netflix sometimes is a solitary thing that a person does, and a very different experience to the communal experience of watching a film with your friends.
Sure. I watched the first episode of Sacred Games and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's dark, it's gritty, it's gruesome, it's violent, and it's unashamedly just very, very raw in its style and in its format. And I think that's exactly what I loved about it. And what I noticed was that Anurag Kashyap has been unashamed in showing violence and in showing gory scenes. And what you're doing by that is you're bypassing censorship in India, which is an issue that affects cinema and television in the country. Is this a way of overcoming that hurdle and having the freedom of expression that artists want in the country?
On the internet, there's a lot of things that are a bit gratuitous, and there are a lot of shows that have, I don't know about how class shows, but I mean, there's a lot of content out there that is violent or sexual in nature. We still, and I believe Netflix also, just basically promote quality movie making and will support whatever the story is. And if it requires a bit of, violence to make the point, in some cases that might be just part of the show. But I don't think any of us have gotten overexcited with the lack of censorship and have, like naughty children using bad language for the first time.
Isn't it liberating, though, not having to worry about a censor board?
While it's liberating and really nice not to worry about the censor board, which is sometimes a bit laborious, it also makes us responsible automatically somehow. It's like, making naughty boys prefects somehow. They tend to behave better. So, I mean, we want to not offend, not be gratuitous. We want to, Stranger Things is also a Netflix show, and I mean, that's a big family show. So we have our own standards there. And we've learned through movies that, it's not that just sex or violence is not really going to impress anyone beyond a point. It has to be somehow emotionally connected to the story.
And at the same time, the censor board in India is making waves and is actually making huge achievements as well. Your wife's film, Veer Di Wedding, Kareena Kapoor Khan's film, Veer Di Wedding, which released 2 weeks ago, managed to clear the censors or pass the censors with very little cut out or affected in the movie. Does India, for an artist as yourself, feel like a progressive space? Does it feel like a space that's moving in the right direction?
Yes, India is a complicated country to try and... There's so many diverse energies and ideas and votes at play that to keep everyone satisfied must be an incredible job. But I think it is definitely progressing. The quality of movies, the ideas behind movies are only going to reflect the present culture of how things are. And that's one of the most exciting things about being in films, that you're in touch with the present culture, and we're just a reflection of that, really.
I've seen you as a trendsetter of sorts, Saif, from the late 90s into the early noughties, and certainly in the mid-noughties. You were maybe the first hero to be metrosexual on screen, whether that be with your role in Kal Ho Na Ho, who isn't afraid to show emotions, or Salam Namaste, or Hum Tum. These characters were quite new for the big screen. It feels like we've slowed down in terms of showing different sides to men on screen. It certainly feels, for me, when I'm watching Hindi cinema, that writers aren't being as experimental now as they were maybe 10, 15 years ago. Is that why you have turned to an alternative medium or platform?
I also sometimes feel frustrated at something like that, and I haven't given it enough thought, actually, to understand it properly. But I imagine the growth is not like a graph. It doesn't just go up. I think it's kind of cyclical somehow. We go through these creative phases where, we do films like Omkara and Hum Tum, and then after a while we don't seem to be able to go beyond that.
Yeah.
And we kind of stagnate a bit, then go backwards a bit, and then again come around a bit. So there seems to be some kind of a glass ceiling that we're hitting, and I don't really know what it is.
You've tried in the last 2 years. I've seen Chef, and I thought it was really good.
Directors try, and I try, and we all, because of, for whatever reason, I'd still rather be part of something that's attempting to be new than something safe and frankly little regressive to try and do, or a bit dull to try and do. I'm now getting a bit worried, because when things don't work, then you feel, listen, and confidence is really the key to experimenting or any kind of art. To flourish, you need a confident situation, and confidence comes from success. So if you're not being successful, it tends to limit your desire to try something edgy. When Raja Menon made Chef, he kind of made a European movie out of it, which is very nice in some ways, but might be barking up the wrong tree in India. So it makes me think, oh, hang on, maybe a Salam Namaste was closer to the template that people like.
Maybe, but I still think Chef was very good.
It was a very good movie.
What I'm sad about is I didn't get to see Kala Kandi because it didn't release in the UK, and distribution is the other thing that is a bit of an issue.
There's a lot of players that come into the market with exciting ideas, but it takes more than money and a good intention to make a proper movie. This is why what we used to call in the old days big banner films, like, Yash Raj, Dharma, they know their stuff. It's just beyond the money to make a film. Tomorrow you get a builder coming in with crores or millions of pounds and says, listen, I want to make a movie. You have to think about it, because there's more to the art of filmmaking than just, paying people.
But then I guess now having like a Netflix or other streaming services in India, the distribution model has changed hugely as well. We have a Lust Stories coming out on Netflix next week, which is, you know, 4 top filmmakers who are putting their creative juices into a digital content. You know, do you see this helping or certainly reviving the innovation for writers in the country?
Well, I don't know about that. I do know that it is yet another platform with which to entertain people potentially. And normally, you know, television is something that's ruled by the sponsors and requires some kind of family negotiation before you decide what you want to watch, or even interspousal negotiation. But this is something you can hook up on your own and in quite an intimate atmosphere. So as an actor who wants to cater to viewers, I think it's a great thing if you can do films which are large experiences and also, you know, say that this story should actually be something like for the web. This should be on the internet. But what makes a streaming service like Netflix, what makes the show different to television or film? We have to understand that. And I think it's an edginess, like a graphic novel. It's something about the colors that a bit stranger, a bit...
It's very intimate. It's very like, you feel like you're there almost.
It's intimate, but I'm saying also the content of it should be something artistic that is beyond television,
Sure.
different to film, different to books, and, you know, it has to be, it's that internet thing, which is very exciting for an actor.
Most actors I know, they can just focus on themselves, they can focus on their own films and focus on their own celebrity, so to speak. And yet here you are, your wife's a megastar, your daughter's about to make her debut, your youngest son is the biggest sensation in the country. How worried are you about being consumed by the celebrity around you? I mean, you've always stepped away, you've always kept away. We always know that you've not really wanted to mill in those circles, so to speak. But yet it is so you are surrounded by it.
You know, I've always been surrounded by it. I've been surrounded by my parents who are huge celebrities, and times change, things change. I tell you something, I'm honestly really not worried or bothered about it, because I think, you know, I've been at it for a while. I've had a really good time. I'm thinking about acting more than ever before. I think I'm a better actor than ever before. I'm enjoying the craft, but I've stopped being scared. I honestly feel if it was all to end and people are only interested in, you know, Taimur, bless him, or Kareena, bless her, or Sara, bless her, or Ibrahim, I'm okay with whatever happens. You know, I'll sort of do something in, or maybe I just chill in Claridge's.
Just chill here.
So I'm really like that. I don't want to worry. I work. You know, I've always taken the best of what I've been offered, and fortunately, I've been still given some pretty interesting offers. Absolutely. So, you know, I think I'm okay with anything that happens. So I just choose what turns me on. I'm not really thinking, you know, where will this take me and how will this impact, because it can be very nerve-wracking, that whole, I don't want to be that guy.
With that said and done, your daughter is making her debut, and I want to know what it's like for you as a father at this point, and also an actor. Does it make you question your position as a leading hero in any way? I mean, Anil Kapoor is very vocal about how it changed his dynamic as a hero.
You know, I think it's such a unique marketplace, you know, films or Bollywood, that everyone defines themselves by something. I mean, like some people have told you that, you know, it's not likely Kareena Kapoor will be massive hit after having Taimur. It's great, yeah. But that's, you know, something my mom did in the 60s as well. So I think we all make our own future. And Anil Kapoor is, you know, I was quite young when I had Sara. I mean, we have a drink together from time to time. We're more like friends. I mean, there's very little I can lecture her on in that sense. It's a bit odd. Yeah. Someone might even cast us in a movie.
Well, someone might cast you, but you might be cast opposite one of her colleagues, you know, like I mean, we know Bollywood has an issue with age gaps on screen anyway, right? So,
like Ranveer Singh's doing a movie with Sara. It's an age gap. Yeah, you do, you know, your children, when they grow older, it does make you suddenly feel that, wow, time has gone by. I used to be the youngest guy in movies, I remember that. So that's definitely changed. But I'm okay with it in the sense that, yeah, there's no worry.
No insecurities, no nothing.
Not at all.
Which is really good to see. And I can see that on screen as well. When I saw Chef, I really felt like you were in a very natural space in that film. It felt like you were playing a role that suited your age, suited your character. With Sacred Games, I see you not really bothered about your physique, so to speak. You seem like a normal, ordinary guy. And I think back to myself, I was recently watching Hum Tum and Salam Namaste, and I thought, he doesn't have to worry about being in shape all the time. He doesn't have to worry about having a six-pack. He doesn't have to worry about all these things. Is it fun not having to think about everything else except the acting? Because I guess when you're in your kind of mid-30s, at your prime, you kind of are focusing on all those other things too.
Well, it's easier to maintain those things at that point, but I'm saying there's a film like Navdeep Singh's film who says, I want you to be this really tough swordsman.
Right.
And, you know, so I thought, ooh, Chef was easier. And after going through this kind of action movie, I yearn for some kind of lazy comedy, you know. So it keeps changing. Certain roles are more physical than others. But being an action hero or being like an actor is such a 24-hour full-time round-the-clock job. I mean, you know, you have to diet on holiday and, you know, all these various kind of things.
Absolutely. Saif, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing. Thank you so much.